And welcome back to Common Sense for Relationships. And happy Children's Day in advance. My name is Anietie Bature, and I am here with my husband and Coach KGB. Yes. So today I'm making noise. He's not just my husband, he's Coach KGB. He's a family life practitioner, like certified something something. Oh yeah, tell us what exactly is that?
Fully certified family life practitioner, therapist, coach, consultant, and I do all of those things.
And
many other
psychologist in the
things.
making.
Yes, psychologist in the making. Yes, yes. So, good evening and welcome to her show. And by the way, she's also a coach, certified, an author
Yeah.
of 2 books. She's a certified engineer. She's a fully certified engineer.
Yeah.
She's a full-time mommy. She's also a singer, songwriter with 2 albums and numerous singles out there in the wild. So everyone, welcome to Common Sense for Relationships.
Yes, you're welcome. And you know, on this show, we bring you valuable information to help you make better decisions in your lives and in your relationships. And this week is not going to be any different because we bring value all the time. This time around, our focus is on the children because I'm sure you all know Children's Day is around the corner. I mean, today is May 25. In today's time, it's going to be Children's Day. So all across the globe, people are going to be celebrating children. So, what better time to talk about what concerns them on Common Sense for Relationships? So, our topic for today, and you probably have gotten a peek at it on the screen behind, is God will not train your children. I'm sure you're wondering about that. But you know, we are on this series, What God Will Not Do, as my husband says, but what God will not do for you series. Now, the thing is, yes, we are all familiar with the term, what God cannot do does not exist, and that is beautiful, right? But then it's important for certain people to know that you cannot throw away certain responsibilities and say, God will handle it as long as God is there, I'm okay. And so you don't bother, right? So now we're going to look into the aspect of raising children, training children, caring for, providing for children, everything that concerns children. So get ready for today's discussion. Get your popcorn, get whatever makes you happy when you're watching a screen, and call your friends, your family, your loved ones, people you know have kids and need to hear a little about what's up in that direction or what in that department, and people who also have interesting stories to share. Please go ahead and send the link to them so they can join in. You know, this is a live show and there's room for everyone to make their contribution, and there are different ways you can do that. So while you're watching the show, if you hear something really interesting, something that resonates with you, go ahead, give us the thumbs up or any emoji of your choice, right? And if you have something you would like to share, feel free to chat. You can chat with the other people on the chat group. You know, there's the chat room. There's usually a lot of banter over there, and we're expecting that today as well. And if you really feel like I need to say this, not just type it, let us know. We'll send you a link so you can join us in the studio live. So this is going to be an interesting show.
So at this point, we can say welcome.
And we can say if you have not yet subscribed, I can't forget that.
Yes, subscribe, like,
Yes.
share, connect. And before we jump into today, let's look at, because this series began last week, right? Let's look at some things, some small tidbits of what happened last week.
Previously on Common Sense.
The concept of prayer does not alienate personal responsibility. So that I ask God for help, right? like one of my favorite prayers, one of my strongest prayers is, God, I beg. That you ask God for help does not mean that God will abdicate his throne and come down on earth and solve problems for you. But he will provide, he will either provide capacity, he will provide connection, he will provide, he can even provide creativity for you to make what? That prayer answered. I don't know why he does that. In fact, it's as if God has bound himself in such a way that in order for him to do anything for man on earth, there must be a partnership between our humanity and his divinity.
That's interesting. Humanity and divinity. You just like speaking English.
But is English making sense?
It's making sense.
So we are getting somewhere. So our own is for the English to make sense, for even the common people to have sense.
Oh my goodness. Okay, all right. So let's get down into this.
And for those that are just joining us, I know some of you are on the way, but we are still here between 8 to 9. For those that are just joining us, we are going to have a special guest, a specialist, in children therapy and psychology and counseling. She's going to join us on the show, and we are going to really talk about these issues. When we say God will not train your children, what's happening in there?
Yeah.
You get?
So we'll get into that. And as usual, Debbie is already online.
She said,
hello.
Debbie, hi. I know the other people have not made their noise yet. So Debbie, hi. She said, I love the matching outfits. We're trying. Do you understand? And I'm sure those of you that are watching, there are some people that really hollered my phone last week, to say, to give us some feedback. I hope we have shown in the matching outfit that the feedback is heard. That's the interesting thing about this show. You can speak your mind and we'll look at it. It makes sense. We'll respond. And thank you for your feedback. We got a number of feedback from last week, and so we're here.
Yeah.
And we're ready to go.
Yes, fantastic.
God will not train your children.
So, I was just thinking, where is a good place to start with this? And you know what comes to my mind?
Tell me.
Now, if they ask the average person, tell me a scripture, tell me somewhere where the Bible talks about training a child. What scripture comes to your mind?
Train a child in the way that he should go, so that when he is old, he will not depart from it.
Yes, honestly. And that's in Proverbs 22 verse 6. So you just think about it. It's just so and that's like often the reference scripture.
Yeah.
And you can see that place not say, I will train your child in the way he should go. And when he's old, he will not depart from it. It was like from the beginning, it's an instruction to the parents. Train a child in the way he should go. So responsibility rests first and foremost with the parents. So I think that's a good place to start.
So for me, what I always like to pick up, there's this reference I made last week, and that's where I would like to pick it up from. This whole concept of we're in a generation where we have spoiled parents raising entitled children. You remember we said that last week. So that thing never left my spirit. It's just like who are the people who is training our children? And interestingly, just before during the week, we got some questions even coming from singles to raise the issue about. They were saying a lot of things. I'll read some of the comments when as we go into the show. But the question was asking, whose responsibility is it to train the children? And if you say it is the responsibility of the parents, are we saying that the parents determine the outcome of the children? Do you understand? The questions again is, okay, if the parents are supposed to train the children, right? Who is training the parents?
The parents of the parents when they were children.
Okay, so if the parents of the parents train the parents,
Mm-hmm.
and they only knew enough to train the parents.
Mm-hmm.
And those parents now took what their parents knew
Mm.
and trained their children.
Mm.
We can already see where we have some problems coming.
Yeah.
Now, there's the part where we say, okay, we need to, we can pray for our children. Yes, we should pray for our children. But when we come to the issue of training, it means that you are a guide.
Mm.
But a guide is only as good as his knowledge of the terrain.
Yeah.
So the parents can only train as good as what? How they know,
Mm-hmm.
what they know.
Yeah.
So the question is the parents that are raising the children that we are seeing, because if you read the description, we said someone, those parents,
Mm-hmm.
what do they know? The bully, we go to our children's school, we go to PTAs and they say, oh, we need to stop bullying. The bully is somebody's child.
Mm.
We go to schools and we hear people say, oh, they are, what's it called? They are, someone stole my child's stockings
Mm-hmm.
or stole my child's book.
Mm-hmm.
And they are still students in the same school.
Mm.
So it means, quote
The
and
thief.
unquote, the thief is somebody's child.
Mm.
If we extrapolate it to present day,
Mm.
the, what's it called? The terrorist that we see,
Mm.
or the terrorists that we don't see,
Mm-hmm.
it was somebody's child at a point.
Mm.
So the question that we must tackle or that we must confront as parents is, how are we raising the children? So there's first the case of the parents.
Mm-hmm.
There's first the case of the parents. Are parents training their children or they are just growing together? Number one. Number two, what kind of trainings are parents giving children? Because really they will train based on what they know. Number three, these are just issues I'm opening up. We can decide to pick it from any point. Number three, who is training the parents that should train children to be able to function in this generation and in their generation?
Yeah.
These are all matters arising.
Yeah. I know that it's really important, right? It's really important to have your parents around. I mean, that's the earliest level of learning. In fact, the training starts in the tummy. Because they
Please
tell you
clarify.
from when a fetus is, I think, 4 months old or something, if I remember well, they start to hear. So they start to hear conversations that are happening outside. In fact, and they say some are really eager to be born because it sounds like a very happy world out there. So even from how to communicate, how you raise your voice when you're speaking, when you're angry, how you react, a number of things, they start to, so that's like you're beginning to condition their environment, and those things add to what your child is learning, what their view, what their, how should I call it, their, whatever it is that they're experiencing, it's all part of it, right? So of course they're learning from you. What do you think about mannerisms? Because they see you, they watch you, they learn from you. So it's like, oh, daddy does it this way, and subconsciously they just start to do things like you, hold the spoon like you, laugh at the same kind of jokes because you programmed them to know that that one is funny, this other one isn't funny. So it's like social cues. So even though you're not the only source, that question you were saying, is the parents responsible for the outcome of the child? Like, if a child is bad, then it's the parents' fault. If a child is good, then it's the parents' fault. The, the fact is, there are other influences that come along, as the child is growing.
So
But then at those early stages, when you are still in charge to a great extent of the child's life, then part of your work is now to try to control, or should I say supervise, or try to screen the kind of influences that come around your child. So, from what kind of school is this child going to go to? What kind of teachers do they have there? What's the learning environment like? To who is at home to help me take care of this child? What kind of person is that person? How do they behave? How do they act? You know, when you know that there's a problem is when you find out that your child is picking up your nanny's mannerisms
Mhm.
more than your own.
That one too is matters arising. That is serious. So you speak about manners, and I just want to jump quickly into one of the questions that the singles raised during because we reach out to, we speak to singles, we speak to newly married, we do a lot of youth coaching and mentoring and stuff like that, and one of the questions that the singles raised in that group, the person asked the question, can a bad mannered parent teach good manners? So you were speaking about mannerisms. That's why I said to pick on that question. There are many. Can a bad mannered parent teach good manners? Because I'm sure when our specialist comes up, she will probably tell us a little bit about how children pick up the cues. And then she will the age ranges where they pick up all of this this is where we say they are impressionable and all of that. But even if they pass those, what are the environments around which we are raising the children of tomorrow? At the different stages of their life, at the different levels of their life, what is the environment we have created in the home? In fact, how many parents today are actually deliberate about what they are creating with their children? I don't know if you understand. So these are all, we're just raising these questions, and they are talking points for people to begin to think about and to engage. You know, it's one thing to just I provide for them, I do this, but where are you going with your family? What's the direction? How do you want these children to go? And you are right in answering that question about the outcomes. Yes, the parents may not be the only determinant of the outcome of a child's life, but the parent is a key factor. So I remember when I was researching for my practitioner's license, we had to do something. We had to study because we were looking at family and we're looking at it through the eyes of not as if to that we're not trying to hail anybody's act, but in life we have heroes and villains, right? There are people in life who say, oh, this person was a hero, this person was a good guy, this person was a bad guy. In real life, someone like Nelson Mandela, he's a good guy. He's a great guy, right? He will pass for a real life hero. But someone like Hitler is a villain. Joseph Stalin, which was the person I did a research on, is a bad guy. So the question was, this bad guy of tomorrow, who was he yesterday when he was a child? So we did a research and we began to find out that there are certain things that influence people that influence the people we see today from when they were children that we could not see. So what was the environment around which they grew? What significant emotional experiences impacted their life? Who was the most impressive figure in their upbringing? These are three critical things that how many parents need to look into. Do you understand?
Because I mean, if you want to take somebody's life, for instance, you start from I'm born, I'm in my family, I'm learning from my mom, I'm learning from my dad, I'm learning from my siblings, right? And some other people who are in the house. That's part one. And then I go to school, I learn from my teachers. And of course, if you know that children pick a lot from their peers, so they'll come back and they'll be wielding one new language like that. And you're like, where did you get this from? Then you find out, oh, they picked it from your child in school, you know? But if you are present as a parent and if you're paying attention, then you have an opportunity to say, hey, that one is not good, you need to drop it. I don't want to hear it anymore from you, and so on. You know, so you start to screen. You might say, oh, that school, I don't like the influence you have in that school. Maybe like the kind of influence that is happening to you, not your own effect on others. Sometimes a parent will say, I don't like this teacher, and then they'll go and meet the principal or the headmistress or somebody, can you move my child to this other class? Because the fact is, you also want to be particular about who is the outside influence, who is the person outside that my child sees as a role model that they interact with a lot. I remember I remember an instance where a mom was working, 9 to 5. She'd go to work, come back, go to work, come back. She was doing all of that, and then she'll come home and see her child. And at first, it wasn't such a problem, but later on, like I was saying, she observed that this child is acting more like the nanny than like her, right? And the day it hit home was when something happened, and you know how you would reach out to your child and expect the child is going to run to you for comfort. On that instance, the child ran to the nanny for comfort. That's when the mother realized that, okay,
The things are happening.
it's time to get other influences, so that if I cannot be at home with my child, then it is needful for you to find the right kind of influences. So is the right time to leave the child with the nanny for 8 hours while you are gone, or to take the child to a school where you are hoping for, let's say, better tutors, people who have been screened and are trying to show good values to the children in their space and so on. So yes, parents have a role to play directly, and parents also have a role to play indirectly, in picking who are those other influences going to be. It's the same reason why you see a parent say, I don't want you to play with that boy again. Because maybe they've heard something about the boy, or they know something about the boy, and they see their child trying to get close to that boy, and they're like, no, that boy cannot be your friend. I mean, it's just one of those things. So yeah.
So as we delve into this, so can we make it clear? Can we say categorically that God will not train your children for you? Or is God still in the business of training children?
So if you ask me, right, I would say that part of what God does is to orchestrate events in our lives, right? Try to set things in order for certain things to happen. The same way He will make you meet somebody who eventually tells you about Him, or who you watch and you're like, I want to be more like this guy. And then you now find out that, oh, what's making that guy that way is his relationship with God. And then you gradually start wanting to know God more, right? Those influences are there. But will God say, oh, now you have given birth, Mrs. Bature, hand that child over to me for training? Like, as if I don't have any responsibility. No, that's not going to happen. I can go to God for help.
Yes.
I can go to God for wisdom.
Yes.
I can go to God for strategy.
Yes.
I can go to God for
Protection, even.
protection, healing, a lot of things, right? But in this context of training, if I get to a point that I don't understand what to do, I can ask for help, right?
Thank you.
And sometimes God has different ways of showing you that help. Like, on one hand, He may help you to find something in the Bible or in His Word, right, that will make you know, oh, this is how to handle this particular situation. On the other hand, He may make you run into someone who happens to be a specialist when it comes to taking care of children. Or He may make you discover there's one program happening in town, or they said it's parenting seminar, something, and you're like, now that they have children, I think I need to attend this one. And then you go there, you meet with other people that have been doing this for a while and have so much knowledge and wisdom to share. And you go and you find out, oh, so this is the solution. Sometimes it's just sitting down and having a chat with somebody who has been there, done that, who can tell you, oh, children are not the same. This child might be like this, that one might be like that. So don't assume. It's not always the same thing that works for every child and stuff. And you realize, oh, really? So you mean I cannot assume that what I did for my first child will just work for all of them? So in fact, sometimes The parent will say, I did it right with the first child. The first child will now teach the siblings. You know, I mean, sometimes we say, okay, if I did this one well, you teach your younger ones. And sometimes, oh, that can be so hard. When
So
the younger one does something.
Let's build around that a little, because that seems to be something that comes around in our culture. In our culture, we say we train the first one, then it's the first one's responsibility to make sure that his siblings align.
Right.
Yeah, but is that in order? I belong to the school of thought, and I'm sure when our specialist comes up, she will probably correct me if I'm wrong, because that's our area of specialty. But I belong to the school of thought that that believes that the parent is responsible for doing the training. If I train the first one, he becomes like a template, or maybe we can say he becomes like a standard. Now, it's not his job. Putting the responsibility of training the other ones is giving that child more than his desire to be. Even though he's the first child, he's still a child. So I don't believe that parents should overlabor children with the responsibility that belongs to parents. So if I train the first child, set him on his way, he's a standard, an example. For the second one, I will train also and say, be looking at the example. The standard is not going to change. In fact, who taught us this thing? I think it was God that says the standard, his own standard, will the solid foundation of the Lord remains sure, having this seal on it. Do you understand? So the standard doesn't change. So as parents, we should have standards that we have set and use those standards as guidebook or guidelines. But it should not be the children first, because we are first. And so we say, yes, and so we find that happening a lot, that in our culture, firstborns are always so labeled. Sometimes they grow up with that responsibility that makes them, because I'm the firstborn, I have to give up my dream for the sake of my siblings. I don't agree with that too. Somebody can disagree with me. Do you understand? Anybody online can disagree, but I don't believe that. I believe everybody should be architects of their own destinies. We should train them to be able to grow and be their own person. Train the sibling, grow, be your own person. Train the other person, go be your own person. But we can follow a pattern. We can follow an example.
And it's interesting to see that sometimes child B, child number 2, is very different from number 1. And you can imagine you find out that what you were doing for the first child isn't quite working for the second one. So what do? So you as a parent, you actually need to go and start checking. What do I need to do differently? Do I need to change strategy? How do I handle this particular child? In fact, there's a part where you have to start by understanding this particular child. Because it's not just to say they're all children are the same. No. What kind of child is this one? What kind of temperament does this one have? How does this one respond to the different forms of discipline that you have? How do they see it? How do they view it? Do they understand I'm trying to correct them? Or do they think that it is child abuse and stuff like that? So you actually have to try to understand the child, and then you can now start to see how to deal with this particular child. Another thing is influences that are coming from outside. What is this child exposed to? Can you try to understand a little more? What's their classroom like? What's their teacher like? What kind of friends does he have? So that discussion of who are your friends? Who are your closest friends? What do people do in school today? All of those things just give you a bit of a view into what is going on with your child. And those things help you to understand how to make the adjustments, what to say to help them to develop. Because training is not just do what is right versus what is versus what is wrong. It's not just about right and wrong. Training is about transferring value, transferring discipline, ethics. The things that hey, this child will need for life. I need them to get this and to get it early so that they don't struggle, so that they can succeed, so they can become their best self, right? The best version of themselves in the future. You want to train them, you want to share those values, you want to teach them Some they will learn by watching you, but some you actually have to deliberately sit down and talk to them and tell them, on this is what you do, on this is what you do. In this kind of scenario, this is how we handle it. When you're in trouble, this is where to go for help. You have to just share and teach. And what that says is that you need a lot of face time with the children. So it's not just he's behaving well, so he's okay. Okay, does this child know how to succeed in school?
Mm.
If he didn't understand what the teacher said, does he know how to scale that hurdle? Or will he say, "Oh, I didn't understand what the teacher said. It means I'm not good in the subject."
Mm.
End of story. Have you taught this child about different ways to learn? The part where you're reading textbooks on your own, the part where you're in this day and age, you have access to online material, videos, and stuff that you can watch and learn. Have you taught this child the mindset of a winner, the mindset of a successful child? What do I need to do? How do I overcome hurdles? Have you even taught them, peradventure there's a bully in your school?
Mm.
What do you do? Or do you just leave them to and say, defend yourself, be strong? Or you say, don't worry, it will be over, you soon leave school, so
Mm.
just endure for now. But what's the damage that's being done to that child during the period that they are enduring this thing, without your taking time to teach them how to handle that situation? So yeah, training is more than wrong or right.
It's more than wrong, all right. And I'm glad you've done it justice. But I want to bring in the specialist.
Yes.
I am the child therapist, and she's just going to. Before I bring her on, let me just read a brief bio, because
Yes.
if I read her profile, we'll need one episode. we need one episode. We need one full episode for that. She is backstage right now. I believe she can hear us. So I'm going to read her profile, and then I'm just going to bring her on. Her name is Hope Christopher. She's a certified radio and TV professional.
Yeah.
She's a broadcaster, a family life coach, a child protection authority.
Yeah.
She's a personal branding strategist and author. She's an author of 8 published books, right? We call her Strategist Hope. So I hope I got it right. Well, if she comes on, then she can also tell us a few other things. Strategist Hope, if you can hear us, we're bringing you on now.
So I guess this is time for us to learn how to strategize for the success of your child.
Strategist Hope, you're welcome. Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you, but I can't
Yes,
see
and
you.
we can hear you too.
Okay.
You're welcome to the show. We're really happy to have you with us today.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, so we have read your bio, and it sounds like, okay, we are in good hands. So we're just going to let you do a free flow and just start with the things that you feel in the short time that we have. Just highlight those things that you think are so important for parents to know today about training their children.
Okay, come again. Sorry.
Okay, so I was saying, in the time that we have, just go ahead and share the things that you feel are really critical, really important for parents to know about training their children.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. Yes, it's a great opportunity to be on your platform tonight. Yes. All right. So there's a whole lot. Well, I'm just going to start from somewhere.
Okay.
I've been listening to the conversation, and it's seriously an interesting conversation. You want to continue and also make the listener and get to subscribe more for it, because we want more people to hear this good news. The world is going to so complex and so many distractions at a time. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Loud and clear.
Okay. Okay, I am frozen here. Okay, since you can hear me. So the fact
Go on.
that
We can hear you.
okay, parenting is a whole lot. Parenting is a whole lot when it comes to the mother, the father thing, and it becomes a problem. Yes, a serious challenge when it is just for one parent. So let me start from the place of both parents. Now, if a
Mm.
system is not well grounded, like if a system is not well empowered, if we have a dysfunctional family system, we won't be able to build up a functional system. Like I said, it's a whole lot. So how do you parent your child when you don't get to understand the child? How do you
Mhm.
parent your child when you don't know yourself? So the mistakes sometimes we get into as parents is understanding who we are. So if you must understand your child vividly, you must understand who are you at first. How do you
Exactly.
communicate? How do you teach? How do you do certain things? Because it is to your knowing that you begin to unveil the personality of your child. And if parents would
Mm.
work with this mindset that they are raising royalties, then I think parenting will be a big deal in the 21st century. So if
Wow.
they come with
You
this
are
mindset,
raising
I'm
royal.
raising a royalty. Yes. If I'm raising a royalty, these are the things I must do, and these are the things I must not do. They will take parenting seriously because
Mm.
it's getting very complex where parents are parenting, children are also parenting children. It's getting very, very complex. Now let me unbutton this life code. Now, the place of idea, thoughts, and actions. The idea of parenting would first start from the mind, and
Mm-hmm.
it is you can't give what you don't have, of course. So if you are from a this empowered family system, definitely you can't give what you don't have. It is what you have inside of you. That is what you pour out to your child. So the question here is not how to parent
Mm.
the 21st century child. The question here is how equipped are we to understand the tools, the system that must be
Wow.
created to parent this set of children healthily.
Wow.
The, the,
Interesting.
the, the thing is,
This part that
yeah,
sorry,
okay.
this part that you just mentioned about having the right tools, right, and not being able to give what you don't have, it can actually cause concern, or I'm wondering because some of us at the time when we were growing up, some of the things that the children are exposed to now were not there.
Mm.
So if you did not have the experience of their unique challenge, you know, I guess this is part of the reason why some children will tell their parents, you don't understand what I'm going through.
Mm.
You don't
Mm.
understand what
Oh,
this
yeah.
social media app or something means to me. You're taking it away. You're
Mm.
cutting me off from my friends and so on, you know. So go ahead, back to you.
How strategies hope? I would say
Yeah.
how should parents deal with that when, because you hear that a lot where they say, where the children are saying, you don't understand me, you don't understand what I'm going through, you don't, do you understand, how should they deal with that?
Okay, so for example, if your child loves singing and you don't know any musician, that's a faulty system already.
Hmm.
Because you want to know the
Hmm.
musician, you want to know their history, you want to relate with your child's languages, you want to know how best you can come in and advise your child on this musician that they are following. Okay, if your child knows how to dance and you don't know how to dance, then you're doing yourself one big mistake because you are just pulled out of the system. Someone else is raising your child for you. You are not the one raising, you are just the figure. Maybe the ATM machine actually bringing in the money, but you are not the person actually parenting that child if you don't want to follow the system that is required to raise this child. So if your child is channeled or programmed to love a particular thing, because of course no child is same. Some children love, some children are artists from birth, some children are musicians from birth, some children are nurses from birth. So you want to treat them just the way they are. So that for you to put yourself into understanding on how to parent your child, building system, like I said, is understanding that child. Go to that place where they play, be in their midst, understand their language. There's a whole lot of language that today's parents don't understand. and we kind of blame the system. No, the system has no fault in it. You are the one that is a bit backdated. You need to update yourself. Even the phones we use, the system we use, the technical instrument we use, there is actually a need for updating. You use it at a point, you will not be able to get the best out of it. Same goes with knowledge. Same goes with innovation. These things will keep happening, especially why parenting Gen Alpha. They are the today's digital generation. You don't want to just take you don't want to, just like our parents parented us, where at some point they leave us to the hands of maybe the pastor, the church, the environment. Hey, as a parent, you don't want to take that risk. You want to build up a system. You want to script your parenting. Like I said, if you don't raise or have the mindset that you're raising a royalty, you will not come to that place where you'll be in the same space with them. You might just be a figure representing maybe a father or a mother, but you're actually not the one parenting that child. There is a system that child is actually that is actually parenting that child.
So in summary, you're trying to say you need to somehow plug yourself into your child's world, at least be aware, so that you can contribute somehow, so that you can still guide them, even if you
Yeah.
are not as skillful as they are in whatever their area, or what should I call it, gifting is, right? But you
course, yeah.
still get to know a bit, so that you can steer, you can advise, you can screen and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, there's something else you said that I would like to you to maybe say a little more about, where you said speak their language, and sometimes children are communicating with short form messaging that is not, it's not our usual text. When you say
Yeah.
because it's PCOS, or COS, or where you say just our usual.
Or they use FRRR.
So-
You know what that one means now?
No.
FRRR for real right now. And you can even pick up the child's phone and you have no idea
what they're saying.
what they are saying.
So are we supposed to go and start learning those special codes or something?
Okay. So when I said learn their language, I was not actually going to that aspect, but I'll treat that aspect. Okay, when I say learn their language, is understand who your child is, understand what they are speaking, as in understand their feelings, their emotions, their emotional regulations. How do they relate to things? When this child is worried, how best can you calm your child down? When your child is tense, when your child is out of place, when your child is okay, for example, if you have the sanguine child, and the sanguine child, of course, where the one we call the Homa, if you have the sanguine child that is always busy, and you took this child to a party and everyone is expected to sit down, do you know that if your child stands up and start playing, they'll start taming the child different names, that maybe the child does not have a good home training, the child is not well bred, the child doesn't have some good etiquette. But sincerely, this is this child's language. Now it's up to the parent to understand how best to fine tune it. How about you take the child's maybe iPad, or game or toy with the child, so at least the child can focus on playing game while everyone is also busy doing their thing, and he or she is not distracting that child. That is you speaking that child's language. That is you speaking the child's language. That is you unbuttoning certain things. That is you uncovering certain informations. You want to understudy your child while they are growing from age 0 to age 2. You want to build their trust. You want them to trust you. You want to build the security aspect. While they are growing from age 3 to age 6, the place of independency. You want to build. You want to start teaching them on how to set clear start making decisions for themselves. while they are towards their adolescence, of course, we know several emotional issues will come up during that period. You want to teach them how to regulate their emotions and all of that. So this is you speaking their language at every milestones.
Mm.
Hmm.
So you
This
just don't
is
want to be an uninvolved parent. You don't want to be a
hmm.
permissive parent. You don't want to be the parent that always gives orders, that don't live by the orders. You want to be
Mm.
a parent that is disciplined, firm, loving, and you're kind. You are teachable.
Mm.
So there's a
Hmm.
whole
So
lot that comes with parenting.
Strategies hope. These things you are saying is you are causing problem for some. So let me showcase one of the
some of the
comments.
comments.
Let me showcase one. Somebody said he said, so if you have 10 kids, you will learn about 10 plus skills. Now what be that to not in
Okay,
this
so
current
okay,
economy where we have
you
so
ask
much
for them. You ask for them. They never ask for. You ask for them, you take the responsibility. And the human mind, the way God created us, we can even learn more than 10 skills. We can learn more than 50 skills
So you're actually not joking about this thing.
to get to have 10 children. That means you should, because one child might be gifted with more than 5 skills. So you want to learn the one that is more peculiar to these children. If you love them and you want to raise a royalty, if you want to raise royalty, you need to be committed in their raising. You need to be committed in their manual. Every child do have a manual. What are you imputing in that manual? Because it is what you're imputing that would speak in the future.
Wow.
Hmm.
Okay, and we have a lot of comments. Let's see if we can take a few more.
Let the so please stay with us. Let's see if we can take a few more comments and see if we can respond to it. Oh, the person that asked that question asked a follow-up question. So if my kid loves calculus, I have to learn calculus too as a social scientist.
Can you tell me?
I don't know if he needs to, but I know he needs to be interested in what that calculus is,
Mm.
and especially that's why especially in both parent families,
Mhm.
you will find that if the child likes calculus, maybe there's a parent that actually likes calculus that can take up that challenge or learning that skill. I think I'm correct in saying that.
And if you cannot learn it, your own will just be too. So, did you get the answer right? Yes. Oh, well done. A very sharp boy. Continue, read very well.
All right, so let's take some more comments. Please just stay with us. Uh, Dara Benny says some parents are only parents to their children and not their friends. Children need who to freely talk to when it comes to relating to things heart to heart. Please, I need to pause at this junction and dwell on this one a bit. Parents versus friends. We got into a discussion during the week with some people, and they're saying, oh, that parents need to be friends to their children so that their children can relate with them, right? But in the process of parents being friends, we find some parents, because they are trying to be friendly to their children, they don't want to upset the children. Do you understand? So I'm your friend. If I do something that I'm supposed to do, maybe I will. You get maybe I will offend him or her. Where's the balance? Can you speak to that? The balance between parents as parents, knowing their parents, and parents as friends, or is it that if you are parents, you are not their friend? They don't. Do you understand? Can you speak to that? Is that something you can speak to?
Yeah. Okay, so I think I'll relate such parents as a permissive parent, where they allow everything that is asked of them, like they are the child's friends, they are friends to their child, they give the child everything, they don't get involved in the child's misbehaviors, they don't know how to come in, they don't relate with these children, they allow the children just do things however or whatever they want to do. So those parents are classified as the permissive parents. So in the model of parenting, we always say the authoritative parents are what we always want parents to be. When you create a firm decision making for your children, you correct them in love, you support them, you set boundaries. So there's a whole lot. So parenting is it's a skill. I keep telling parents, So you are not born, you were not born with it. So don't wake up and say, I am ready to be a parent. The thing is, how ready are you? How equipped are you? How teachable are you? How many books have you read? In short, how many courses have you paid? Because sometimes I get amazed when you tell parents to pay for a particular course to get to understand their children in certain ways, and they find it like, no, my parent didn't do that. Your parent didn't do that. That's why we have a dysfunctional family system in today's world. If everybody had listened, if everybody had followed a system, if everybody was actually ready to be empowered by people that are acknowledged and were blessed by God through skills or through talent, of course, God gave everyone different talents, then we will not have much of these issues that we were having in today's world. But yeah, and we have to deal with this. So the permissive parent allows everything that happens in the lives of the children, but an authoritative parent creates a standard with the help of a therapist, a coach, a counselor, and with the help of God. So definitely you can't do it alone. But you just know this is what you want for your child. So reasons why I said a system must be created. You must have a system that is tested and proven, not the system that you created yourself. One or two persons would have created this with you, coupled with God, crowning it all. So you must have a system that works. How tested is this system in your home? Your parenting standard, how tested is it? Because the reason why all of this actually happen because we have disempowered parents parenting the 21st century generation.
Mm. Mm.
Wow.
Mm.
So
Mm.
parents have to get power by learning.
They have to be empowered. We need
Yes.
to have empowered parents,
Mhm.
empowered by learning, empowered by books, empowered by seeing a therapist,
Getting help,
paying
yeah.
for courses, studying, and strategies. So, what you're saying isn't a lie. There were certain books I started reading because of my children. There were certain courses I took because of my children. Uh, I agree with you. You know what you're saying. That none of us was born with this.
Yes.
We needed to learn. So the place of God. You also said it there. The place of God is we pray and God gives us guidance. Sometimes God gives us wisdom
Yeah.
to deal with some of these things.
Thank you for making me.
I remember when he was
I
doing for
remember
some of
when you
those
were doing for some of the
child number one did
child
not
number
do so.
one, you know, so
My hand did not.
by the time you lost
My darling husband
my
started
darling
attending
husband
course.
started attending course.
So I was
I
saved
was
from
saved
that
from
because I mean
that because I
that
mean
left of
that
trouble.
less of
I
trouble.
hope my people
That
have a bit of an
a
echo.
bit of
Okay,
an
we
echo.
have, we have some
We
feedback.
have some feedback.
So
Just
I'm trying. So
I'm trying to
reduce your volume.
reduce your
Reduce your
volume,
volume
reduce
if
your volume if okay.
okay, because it's feeding back
Because
into
it's
this
feeding
one.
back into this.
Okay,
Okay.
right. So
Right.
So the
So
bringing this to a close
bringing
and
this to a
strategy.
close
So please
strategy. So please
give us your closing thoughts on the subject.
on the
What's
subject.
one final
What's
word
one
that you
final
would
word
like
that
people to as we go
I
through
could go
this
through
Children's
this
Day
children's
and
day
the year
year
after until we
after
come to the
until
next
we come to
Children's
the
Day?
next children's day. Sorry, I didn't get that.
Oh, I was asking, what final word would you like to give to the parents?
Muted. Okay.
okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Yes,
you.
we can hear you. Okay, so I definitely have many final words, but one thing I would say is the best thing where to start is learning. Go learn, relearn, and unlearn. So follow that three process, and I trust me, you would get to understand where to start. Because at some point, so many things must have gone wrong. So you would just get to know what to do and who to meet and who to connect with. So go learn, relearn, and unlearn. Sorry, I can't hear you.
Media handles so
Media
that
handles
everyone
so that
can see.
everyone can see.
So the email address, strategisthope@gmail.com. And then you can follow her on IG. That was also displayed. So take note of that, viewers, in case you want to find out more about Strategist Hope and see some of the things she's doing and learn from her. I'm sure there are some tips there on social media that will help you on your parenting journey. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I also think that parents need the education. Parents need to get educated. It's part of getting involved in the child's life. It's part of getting involved in the children's life. And Strategy Hope, I really want to thank you. I want to thank you for the input and that you have made. We're trying to bring the show to a close. We're going to take some more comments. Please stay online and just write with us.
Yes, and
There's
you
a
can
lot.
if you want to respond to some of the comments in
You
the
can you
group,
can
feel
yeah,
free to
yeah
chat.
you can chat as we try to bring this to a close. We are so grateful. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
coming up. Please reach out to her handle, reach out to her email. You
Hope
can take some of her
Christopher,
courses, you can
yes.
buy some of her books, because parenting is a never-ending school. Sometimes as old as I am, my mother still wants to parent me, even at this age. So you get that.
Yes, please note the IG is
Yes.
I am Hope Christopher. So
Christopher
that's
James,
HOPE,
Okay.
not HOOE.
Okay.
So please take note of that.
And strategishope
Yes.
at gmail.com. We thank you for being with us. We
Yeah.
celebrate you. Please hang with us till the end. Thank you. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I think the main thing for me there is the fact that even parents need to learn. It's not just, don't feel that you have everything. You know, the way you learn for your your profession, for your trade, your business, you know, where you learn for how to live in peace with your spouse, you now have to learn how to raise your children, how to train them well. What do I need to do? What's the strategy? What works for which child? You know, even to understand the child. It's quite interesting. You can't assume, or you can't just say, "Oh, this is it," or this is what my mother did, and so that's what I'm going to do, or this is how my father handled us, and we turned out okay, so I will do that. We actually need to factor in a lot of things, you know, beyond just what you know as the parenting style. What is the reality today? What are the children exposed to? What are they learning from friends? What the influences that are coming?
Yeah.
What are their peculiar challenges now?
Mm.
You know, and how can you help them walk through those? Because the fact is, you want to be the one to teach and help them, so that whatever you are sharing with them is the is what you are okay with, and hopefully what is best for that child, so that they don't go and learn the wrong things outside or from a different source.
Dorabeni said that is why you see children talking to their friends outside for solutions that they would have talked to you about, and they give them some kind of advice that are off. That advice comes from friends outside, the advice comes from social media, the advice is coming from this thing. She also said parental advice is advice, but first you have to gain the trust of your children. These are some of the things you learn when you study or when you so you know, there was someone that mentioned that spoke about how busy all the business meetings that parents have to attend, and that's why that's why we're putting this out there to say sometimes you spend your life attending these meetings on their behalf in order to make things better for your children, and sometime in the future they come back and tell you that we really wanted you here, not at the business meeting. I remember there was a post that was trending a few days ago, that was done by Bishop Duncan Williams, you know, where he was speaking and talking about his own experience, where he was so around an itinerant minister, and he was trying to take care of his family, but he spent the better part of their life, the better part of the time of their growing years outside of the house. And by the time they have grown, he was well made, that is, but he couldn't. He's doing a lot of work to try to connect with his children. So the fact that he mentioned the case where one of his sons till at the time he was making that video could not call him daddy. The son could only call him sir, because the son recognized him as this big anointed man of God, but not as his man. So he said that what he's doing, he was playing with his grandchildren in the pool, and it struck him and said, this is what you should have been doing with your children. But now you can only do it to the grandchildren because the children are older. Do you understand? So as parents, we also have to pay deliberate attention.
Yeah.
In spite of your business meetings, your busy meetings, you have to schedule, because if you are busy, it means that you have learned the art of scheduling what is important.
Yeah.
Right? Use those 4 quadrants.
Yeah.
Right? Schedule what is important and let your children find a space inside one of those quadrants.
Yeah.
Or else you will come back in the later years of their life and you'll be saying, and they'll be saying, I'm sorry, you can't come and be parenting me now when I'm already a parent, or when I'm old enough to know what I want to do with myself.
Yeah.
So that's very critical there. Okay, there was something. Darben. Okay, I think it's an initial thought.
Yeah, it was really good of him to share like
To
that.
share that,
To be
yes.
that vulnerable, and it's really a good lesson for a lot of parents. So just look within, check yourself, just do a self check and say, hey, am I there for my children as much as I should be? Sometimes maybe even ask the children, because you may be telling yourself, I do this, that should be enough.
Thank you.
So maybe you can ask them, what do you think about daddy? Is daddy a good father? And hear what they'll say. And I hope that they won't be too afraid to answer you.
Yeah,
If they're too afraid, then we already have
but we already
problem.
have a problem.
Yeah.
So at that point, is the lion of the tribe of his house. I wanted to draw your mind to something that the guests that we had maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago on 21 and counting, which is our show for the married. And the man said something. He said sometimes we spend our lives trying to get the children into the best schools, trying to provide the best accommodation, the best standard of living for them, thinking that they need us to be out there. So he said that his children had grown up, and then one day one of his children said, he was telling one of his children to say, oh, do you know what I went through in order to put you in this kind of school or give you this quality of life? And the child said to him, because she I think she was grown up at that time, the child said to him, but you actually did those things for yourself, so that you can tell your friends, my children are in this school. We do this. So a lot of the things that you say you are doing for them, if it doesn't matter to them, you find out that you are actually just doing it for yourself or for your ego, or trying to live your life through your children's eyes.
Yes. So that's a beautiful place to wrap this show up. It has been wonderful today, and thank you so much to Strategist Hope for being with us.
Strategist Hope, we
yes,
applaud you.
And we'd also like to thank all the people who shared things that we are also sharing again here. Thank you to the Bishop, and thank you to our previous guest on 21 and counting for being so vulnerable that we continue to learn from you. Thank you very much. And to everyone who has been with us on the show today, our live audience, thank you. And those who are going to watch this show later on and share it, please go ahead, share, like, subscribe, yes, and join us again next time on Common Sense.
Before we go, somebody at the beginning of the show said, lovely studio. And we cannot go without acknowledging Broken Walls Studio, where we shoot this program. Broken Walls Studio, we acknowledge you. Lovely studio, lovely place. You can come and book for your podcast, for your live show, for your
and that somebody is my darling sister, Trisha, all the way from and then we also have an additional comment. You can see Razi there.
Hey, Razi.
Good piece. Well done. Thank you very much.
Well done. So it's been an interesting time.
Yes.
I know we have to close because we overshot by 3 minutes, but I mean, there's something I feel like I need to drop something for some parents that they can easily use. It's difficult, but it's a skill that we are also practicing in our home with our children. It's something we call open house. open house is a tool that we use for engaging the children and even building their trust. What the open house tool simply means we set a time, a scheduled time, once a week, where everybody comes into the same space and we spend that 1 hour or so. All we are doing is each person is saying what they feel about the family unit, about the father, about the mother, and even as the father or the mother in that meeting, you can't respond. Yeah, you can't respond. All you are doing is just listening. It's a difficult skill to manage as a parent, but I am telling you, it is worth it, because what it does is that it generates openness between you and your children.
Yeah.
Right.
So everybody can say something about the other person, and you're not allowed to defend yourself. So
Yeah.
you can say, "Mommy, you do this, you need to stop," or "Daddy, you're too this, you need to stop." And they can also say to the other sibling, "You're too harsh, you need to calm down," or "This other one, you don't give me enough hugs," and stuff like that. So you're just supposed to listen and say, "Okay, if this is this person's true expression of what they feel, so listen." Later on, you can come and explain, try to make adjustments and stuff like that. But the important thing is for the people to say what they feel. Just bring it out there, right? Yes. So you get to know. It's a way to get feedback.
Yes.
Am I doing well?
What can I do better?
Yes, and it's not just negative feedback.
Yes.
Because sometimes it's, "Hey, you used to be like this, but now you have improved.
Mhm.
Well done," or "Thank you for making this change. And we are a lot happier about it." So it's cool. So the feedback is good. The timing is completely up to you. You can do it once a month. You can do it once every holiday. It's up to you, but it's important to get the feedback.
It's something that's important, and I was just throwing it out there, especially for those people that say we are really busy parents. Do you understand? Those kind of sessions, they actually do a lot beyond the feedback. There's the bonding it creates.
You just find out that the little thing your kids are looking for is just for you to play Ludo with them.
Or play what?
Something. You just be amazed. So the feedback is good. So if you can get it, by all means, get it. So thanks everyone for being with us on the show today.
And please subscribe, share, and Broken World, once again, we appreciate you. And you need to see their studios. The studio is phenomenal. The studio is phenomenal. It's fantastic. It's let me hype them small. It's world class. Sound, lights, equipment. Thumbs up. So if you want to reach them, I collect agency fee. I collect small agency fee.
Right. Okay, everyone, thank you so much. Remember, like we always say, common sense is not so common. See ya.
Bye. Yes, sir.
Thank you once again for joining us. We hope you got great value today. Our goal is to bring you valuable information to help you make better decisions in your life and relationships. Please do not forget to subscribe, share, and like.